Deathstroke Slade Wilson was introduced by George Perez and Marv Wolfman in the new Teen Titans a long time ago. A lot of classic stories, the Judas contract and whatnot. And he used to be an enormous villain. Whenever Deathstroke showed up, who's going to die? Is it actually going to be one of the heroes? Is it going to be a supporting member? And they've kind of toned down the character lately, specifically in this Shadow War. I kind of want to talk about some of the ways they messed up the character, then kind of go back and see where we kind of fell off the Deathstroke train and how they got it wrong. Here to talk with me about that is a big-time DC Comics fan, Dylan from The Real Comic Book Gamer. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to rant about Deathstroke.
I know you're a huge Deathstroke fan. We talked about comic books behind the scenes and whatnot. You read Shadow War, the big crossover between Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke Inc., and it culminates in this big final battle between Talia al Ghul and Deathstroke. And it's kind of ludicrous that this would even be a fight. We've seen Deathstroke defeat Batman in the past, but Talia's got his number, and somehow, I don't know how this happens, but she catches his blade, it doesn't chop her hand off, and then she pulls a knife out and guts him and kills him. How does this even happen? It doesn't make sense in any part of DC canon.
It doesn't make sense at all, and that's something that everyone that has written Deathstroke has forgotten about in like the past 20 years, is that he's enhanced. So when she tries to catch it, that should just go straight through and impale her. He is so much stronger than anyone, any normal human, nevertheless Talia. And then he's also, like, he's shown to be able to predict where Flash can go and react to Flash, but she's so fast she can pull out a knife and stab him. He should see that coming from a mile away. It's so stupid. It makes no sense. And that final fight between them two pissed me off so much.
Did you like the resurrection, at least, when they take him to the Lazarus pit and he's resurrected but different?
No, that was horrible. So, like, after he dies, after he gets completely defeated by Talia, and the worst part is after that, like, everyone just has a conversation over his dead body, like, just a complete disrespect to Deathstroke. Talia kills him, and then, like, Batman, Damian, Talia, and some others just all, like, have a full-on conversation while he's just dead and bloody on the floor. But his League of Supervillains or whatever come in and take him, put him in the Lazarus pit, and he comes out. And instead of thinking, revenge to Talia who just killed him, he's like, the Titans. And it's like, what? Why does he want the Titans? They killed Grant like 20 years ago. Now he wants the Titans again? He hasn't been after the Titans in a while. What is going on?
Well, they needed that to happen for Dark Crisis, the event book, because they fight in the second issue. But I've kind of seen a lot of that stuff. I like Williamson as a writer, but I do think that he's probably overworked here, and he's not thinking things out really logically. There are a couple other things about Shadow War I want to hit on before we get to the rest of it. There's something interesting in there in that, kind of every time Deathstroke becomes a dad or he has like a son type figure with him, the Titans do kill him. And it was interesting that they brought that in there, obviously with Ravager, or I'm sorry, Respawn, but he dies so fast you never even get to know the kid. And then he's like, oh, another son dies. You're like, you knew him for 2 minutes.
That aspect was interesting. There was that clone of Talia and Slade, and it was essentially another chance because Slade has messed up with every kid he's had. Him and Rose had a horrible relationship because he just knocked up some lady in like Vietnam. Grant obviously died in the beginning. Jericho, the one good son, no matter how hard Deathstroke tried, he was actually good, but then he got overrun by all the people he had possessed and turned evil, and Deathstroke had to kill him a while ago. So bad relationship with all his kids, and with this one he finally has a new chance, but like you said, there's no chance for them to bond or for the reader to really feel for them because he's there and gone like that. Like, there's no bonding there. It was just way too fast.
Slade Wilson used to be like a big bad, maybe he's not a doomsday, but he wasn't that far off. When he showed up, bad things were going to happen. Batman could, in theory, get his butt kicked. And, even Superman, he might be able to outthink him because he is enhanced, not just physically, but mentally as well. Like, he's using 90% of his brain or something like that. And you had this really cool, compelling villain that was such an enormous threat every time he showed up. But now, every time he shows up, everyone beats his butt. It's not even just Talia al Ghul. This has been going on for like 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's been going on forever. So I've always said there's two Deathstrokes. So after the initial Teen Titans, when Deathstroke got his 90s run from his creator, Marv Wolfman, it was revealed that he was a bit more of an anti-hero, and I actually like that. I thought it was done really well. You saw he did horrible things. He was not a good guy, but he was someone with a code that wasn't just pure evil. And it was handled really well for the most part. I really liked that run. And then in the 2000s, they like wanted to make him a straight up villain. And you had, I think the person that did that the best was Judd Winnick during his Green Arrow run. Deathstroke was a force of nature in that book. He took on Black Canary and Green Arrow at the same time and just played with them like they were nothing because they had messed with him before, and he just could have straight up killed them. It took the Justice League to show up to save them from Deathstroke killing them during that run. Great, just terrifying villain. And he went from that to just being a joke, to essentially being Boba Fetted, to where he's put on covers because he looks cool but never actually does anything, just gets his ass beat by everyone. And now instead of being like, oh, he's the like anti-hero that just does his own thing, that does whatever, or the terrifying villain that like basically has a vengeance against Green Arrow and Nightwing, to just being a joke that fights a 12-year-old. He fights Damian. It's like DC doesn't know what to do with him, and it sucks.
It's kind of strange that his major rival right now in comic books is Damian Wayne. He is a teenager. Yes, he's a very dangerous teenager, and he's well trained. But Deathstroke should be a threat to Superman. He's a threat to Flash. He's a threat to Batman, and to just kind of waste it all away. And he does have such a great look, and he's really compelling. Is there one specific writer you can think of that really just removed all that threat away from him?
Not one specific. It feels like everyone's done it. It's like during the New 52, you had several people on there. Kyle Higgins did like his initial run, which was really weird, and then you had like 3 or 4 writers take over after that. And then I know a lot of people really like Christopher Priest's run. It's better than most, but it's still really bad. The Icon suit is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of, where they gave Deathstroke like an enhanced suit that he relied on for everything, and it could take punches from Superman. It's like, that is not Deathstroke at all. It comes down to DC fundamentally does not understand why Deathstroke resonates with the fans. They don't know why people like him. They think he just looks cool because he was the best tactician in the DC universe. He was that guy. He even like in the City of Assassins storyline from his story in the 90s, he tells Batman that like, you will never beat me because I am simply better in every way. I'm faster, I'm smarter, I'm stronger. And he beats Batman to a bloody pulp. The only like hit Batman gets on in that fight is a sneak attack to where Deathstroke doesn't know he's there. And then he kicks Batman unconscious into a bookshelf. But now he's just a joke who gets his ass beat by Damian Wayne. And it's just DC doesn't know why people like him or what to do with him.
Yeah, it's too bad because there's so much money to be made in there. We had Deathstroke in some live action stuff. We've seen him teased here and there. He was supposed to be in that Ben Affleck Batman movie, and I think if that happened, maybe they would take the character more seriously. But he's kind of just a plot device now. He's somebody you go in there, he does something, he loses, and the story kind of moves on. What do you think about Dark Crisis number 2? Obviously, that's the next issue coming out. And we are going to get this big Deathstroke fight with Dick Grayson and the Teen Titans at Titan Academy. Deathstroke's probably going to win because he just got out of the Lazarus pit. Like, have they ruined the character to a point where you're not even excited about that?
Yeah, I'm not, because he just lost to Talia. Nightwing is so much better than Talia. He should not be beating Nightwing. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Nightwing is leagues above Talia. That does not make sense for me. So when Dark Crisis was initially announced with like the reveal of the art of Deathstroke versus Nightwing, I was like, cool, because that rivalry has been put to the side for a long time. Deathstroke is more of a Nightwing villain than he is a Batman villain, but for some reason he's been put with Batman because Batman's more popular, I guess. So I was excited to see that, but then Shadow War happened and killed all my hype for Deathstroke versus Nightwing because it's like, he just lost to Talia. What is it? And he just got murdered. This does not excite me, but who knows?
So if DC Comics reached out to you and they said, listen, we like your YouTube channel, you're clearly a big DC Comics fan, we feel like we've made some mistakes along the way with Slade Wilson Deathstroke, what do you think that we should go? What do you think would be a good direction? What do you think would actually resonate with people, and maybe you build some of that mystique back up to where when Deathstroke actually shows up again in comic books, people know it's important, because it doesn't feel important right now.
No, yeah, you'd have to build him up to actually being the best assassin in the DC universe. Like, that was something that was a huge part of whenever Marv Wolfman wrote him, was he always fulfilled his contract. Even in Judah's contract, he fulfilled it. He captured all the Titans except for Dick Grayson, which was still good enough for what Hive wanted. Like, he did what he said he was going to do each time, to where now he just fails all his contract. Also, something that people don't understand is that money is not what motivates him. I see every writer that takes over him is like, he'll do anything for money. In that same City of Assassins storyline that I was talking about with Batman, he's hired to do something. He turns it down because he doesn't like the guy that hired him, and then he does the job anyway for his own curiosity when he could have been paid millions to do it. But being back to your
same
question,
thing happens in the very first appearance of Deathstroke. Hive is trying to hire him, and he tells him to go pound sand. He doesn't like him. Yeah, it turns out they had some other nefarious things, and he went and did the contract anyway. Yeah, just to show that he could do it. Yeah,
he has his own like code and like morale for doing things. It's not just for money like a lot of writers think, especially most modern writers. But to me, you'd have to, one of the number one things I think you'd have to do is separate him from his family. His family are a huge part of his story, but it always feels like a retread whenever a new writer takes over because they're like, Deathstroke, what's big about him? His family. We'll throw him in there. And it's like, just stop. Marv Wolfman did a great job with that, but everyone else just throws them in there, and it's annoying because it's a retread. It's like, oh, we got to go over the Grant stuff. We got to go over the Jericho stuff and Rose. It's like, just let Deathstroke breathe on his own. Give him a solo storyline. Like, I don't remember the last time Deathstroke had a solo storyline that did not include his family. It's been that long. They just throw his family in there. So I do that. You'd have to have him actually beat someone of significance because he's just been beaten and been a joke.
He should beat up Nightwing again.
Yeah, he should. He should.
Batman has to save him or something.
I've had the stance that forever that no one that is not enhanced, has no power, should ever be Deathstroke. They should not. They should not be able to do it. He's too good. It doesn't make sense for them to be able to do it. But yeah, you'd have to like actually make him a force of nature. That's what I would do. You'd have to have a book. I'd love if they brought Marv Wolfman back and had him like reinvent his character again and brought him back to status quo. I think you could do a lot of cool things with Deathstroke. But right now, they don't want to, and obviously every time a new writer takes over, they always have to do Deathstroke versus Batman, and Deathstroke loses. So
the Christopher Priest run, which I didn't think was bad, I didn't think it was fantastic, but they had the Deathstroke versus Batman, and it's hinted at that Damian Wayne is actually Deathstroke's son, and I mean, I guess the Damian Wayne thing is a twist, but
my main problem with Priest run was the icon suit, which is horrible. I hate the icon suit. The design of it, how it works in the universe, horrible, and what he did to Jericho. Because Jericho was always that character that no matter how badly Slade screwed up, he still ended out okay. Like, he was a decent person. But in this, he was just another garbage Wilson. It's like, what? Why you gotta make him bad?
Jericho had such a great look, too. So strange. That was beautiful.
Yeah, the fro with the sideburns.
Like the old medieval costume or something. Like, I don't know where that character came from, but I don't know. Slade Wilson's still a cool character. Deathstroke is a great name, great look. I imagine eventually the character will come to prominence in the DCEU, and maybe they'll pay the character a little bit more attention. But I'm with you. That fight with Talia al Ghul was just atrocious. It was ridiculous. It was embarrassing. It's like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it feels like no one that's written Deathstroke in like the past 15 years has been a fan of the character. They're like, oh, this is the guy that shows up every now and again. He's just like, they write him like he's Deadshot or something. It's just, he's not. He's supposed to be an upper level. Like, he's supposed to actually strike fear into people when he shows up, but he doesn't. They still try to give him those accolades, though. Like, Deathstroke shows up and like someone will mention like, oh, that's Deathstroke, the best assassin there is. It's like, he hasn't done anything in like 20 years.
Obviously, Christopher Priest is a very acclaimed writer, and there were some interesting things about his Deathstroke issue. Specifically, there was a crossover there, and I took the time to kind of lay out how Christopher Priest did a really good job of introducing people to Deathstroke. If you weren't really aware of the character, the history and whatnot, he really laid it out really well in like 2 pages, and I thought this was really well done. Definitely check this out for a little masterclass from Christopher Priest on how to introduce an actual character.